Welcome to Key Knife's instructional video for measuring and adjusting knife runout for your key knife disc chipper system. Knife runout is the variation in height of the knives in the chipper. Consistent knife height ensures consistent anvil clearances, which is critical in preventing pin chips and slivers. Runout should be checked as part of your maintenance program and anytime you replace holders. While watching this video, you may want to follow along with the instructions found in Appendix G of your system manual. Gray banners at the bottom of the screen will indicate the sequence being reviewed. The use of a hard hat, protective glasses, hearing protection, and cut-proof gloves is recommended when performing maintenance on your chipper system. Follow your mill's documented lockout-tagout procedure for the chipper before proceeding with maintenance. In order to measure and adjust knife runout, you will need the following tools: a dial indicator with magnetic base, shim stocks with thicknesses between 5 thousandths and 25 thousandths, impact wrench, half-inch drive, and appropriate socket to loosen and tighten the holder bolts, a wire brush or scraping tool, and a torque wrench. Install new knives in the chipper before proceeding for the most accurate results. Okay, let's get started. Place the tip of the dial indicator on the tip of the first knife, approximately 1 to 2 inches from the outside of the knife and perpendicular to the disc. Ensure the magnetic base mount is solidly attached to the frame or shroud and in a spot where it won't be easily bumped. Zero the dial on the knife tip. Ensure the indicator tip is only loaded with about 30 thousandths to 50 thousandths of throw on the dial. This will make the process easier. Mark the knife clearly to show it as the zero knife. Rotate the disc backwards to the knife in the next pocket. Be careful not to bump the dial or the dial tip. Stop the disc when the tip of the dial indicator is approximately on the heel of the next knife. Slowly rotate the disc backwards until the dial rests on the tip of the next knife. If the dial goes past the tip of the knife, be sure to lift the dial tip before rotating the disc back so you won't bump the dial. Note the dial reading of the knife. It is sometimes easier to do this directly on the disc or chipper housing. Be sure to indicate the relative knife height with a plus or a minus. Safety tip: only rotate the disc backwards when moving to the next knife to lessen the risk of cuts and pinch points. Repeat this sequence until you come back to the first or zero knife. Ensure the dial still reads 0 on this knife. Now that the outside of the knife pocket has been measured, you will want to do the same on the inside of the knife pocket to ensure an even and parallel plane. Zero the dial indicator about 1 to 2 inches from the inside of the knife and mark this as the zero knife. Continuing to rotate the disc backwards, record the measurements for the remaining pockets. Now that you've measured the knife runout, you will need to determine which is the high knife, and you'll need to identify the number of pockets that are more than 10 thousandths lower than the high knife. Key Knife recommends a total runout of 10 thousandths or less. Let's look at an example. On the outside of the disc, pocket 3 is the high knife at plus 2 thousandths. Pockets 4 and 5 are both more than 10 thousandths lower and will need to be shimmed up. Adding a 10 thousandths shim to both of these pockets will bring them into the recommended range. On the inside of the disc, pocket 2 is the high knife at plus 3 thousandths. Pocket 5 is the only pocket that is more than 10 thousandths low and needs to be shimmed. Again, a 10,000 shim will bring it back into the recommended range. By adding a 10,000 shim to the outside of pocket 4 and to the entire length of pocket 5, you will be able to get the total runout to less than the recommended 10,000ths total runout as shown in the last chart. In this case, our final runout is 7,000ths, which is within Key Knife's recommended specification of 10,000ths or less. Once you have determined which pockets need to be shimmed, you need to get your shim stock ready. Any standard shim stock will suffice. Common options include plastic shims, stainless shims, brass shims, or pre-cut shim stock. All of these options are adequate, though you may find the pre-cut shims to be the easiest option. If using sheet or roll, you will need to cut the shims to fit around the holder bolts as shown. Cut whole length shims to fit the entire pocket. Cut shims required for either the inside or outside of the pocket to fit approximately 1/3 of the pocket. When using stainless or brass shims, be sure to hammer flat any high spots. Now that you have your shim stock ready, it's time to shim the low pockets up into position. Position the disc to the first pocket to be adjusted. Clean out the area near the bottom of the holder and blow it out, to minimize the opportunity for foreign material to get under the holder and throw off the adjustment. Loosen the holder bolts. Then push the holder out enough to position the shims between the holder and the chipper pocket. Tighten the holder bolts to the proper torque. Repeat this procedure with all the pockets that need to be adjusted. Once all the pockets have been shimmed, it's always a good idea to dial the chipper again to make sure the knife height's adjusted as expected. Before starting up the chipper, it's a good idea to double check and adjust your anvil knife clearances to your mill specifications. Checking your knife runout is an important piece of your preventative maintenance program to ensure your chipper continues to run effectively and produce the highest quality chips possible. This concludes Key Knife's chipper runout instructional video. Please contact your Key Knife account manager if you have any further questions regarding the setup and operation of your Key Knife chipper system.